Illuvium just brought out the biggest patch for their flagship game, Illuvium Gauntlet, the Auto Battler. There is so much more polishing, there is many more features that they brought out and introduced with this patch. And I'm gonna take you through a game of Gauntlet that I played. I'm gonna show you all the things that I did good, all the things that I did bad, so you can learn a little bit from it and we can look at the new features together. Boom, instantly found a game. Everybody is playing right now with the new patch. I bought up a lot of Illuvials, and basically in the beginning you want to just buy the whole bench, because all those tier 0 assets that you find in the beginning, you have a 100% chance of finding those tier 0 assets. All of them are gonna be for 0 cost, so if it's free, just buy it. It's gonna give you a lot more opportunity to get duplicates. And we have a little look at the battle board right here. We can see the Illuvium planet in the background. And it took me a while, but at one point I realized the whole battle board is actually a G-Shock watch, which I think is pretty cool. Definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite battle board at the moment, paired with the other space board. So we're gonna just fast forward for it and jump through it. We're gonna go for the first augment selection right here. I went for 30% piercing of energy and physical resistance. This is just good with any build that you make, and so it's a very versatile augment right here, because I don't know what I'm playing yet for. So right here I went for 2 empaths as my tank basically, and okay, we have a little bit of fast forward action going on, so that's why you have those Looney Tunes sounds. But yeah, in round 2 I found my foe, and at this point I kind of decided I want to go for fighters. If I find a foe already naturally, I'm gonna remove that Flish. I'm gonna bring in another Doka, so now we have 2 fighters, 2 empaths as our tanks, and then we also have 2 rogues with the ranger. So a pretty solid setup. The problem here is we're playing versus a corner composition, and it seems like corner compositions are the strongest thing right now. Even with a ranger that is just a fighter, which shouldn't be that good, but he's nicely positioned just in front of my rogue, which takes him down. And just all those Atipos healing each other and providing so much sustain, plus the Flishes, plus the Tatapi, the Scion damage just takes me down. So yeah, that's gonna be it with my win streak already in the second round, which feels a bit bad. And as I usually say on my tournament streams, if your tanks, which are my empaths right here, are the last unit surviving, then you probably did bad with your positioning, and that's what I did. We're gonna clean up positioning a little bit here by putting our Atipos in the corners right here, as you can see, and we're again versus a corner positioning, a clump. But this time my Atipos with the positioning, I make sure this one is tanking and this one is taking the lasers. So definitely cleaned up the positioning. Let's see if it's gonna actually help us. We don't have the best setup yet, but we switched over to fighters, removed the rogues, and still have our 2 empaths as our tanks. So 4 fighters, 2 empaths. And what we can see right here, if you hover over one of those synergies, you can actually now see all the other synergies or all the other Illuvials that have the same synergy. So if you hover over Earth, you see all the other Earth units. Tough decision here between Frost and 25% physical piercing. We went for the piercing, always good with fighters, but also Apply Frost can be really good with fighters because they do a lot of auto hits. We removed the 2 empaths, brought in 2 bulwarks instead because I naturally found a Scarabog. So now we have 2 tier 5 units already on the board with the foe and the Scarabog. We have the 4 fighters in the back, our damage dealers. So now we have our tanks in the corner. Very much similar to positioning to last time. I want one of them to tank, one of them to take the lasers. But in this case, we have perfect positioning against the enemy rogues, with our fighters in the backline being able to kill those fighters, taking out the main damage of our enemy team. And now we have a pretty easy time finishing those up. By the way, sorry for having the referral code message here in the top corner. It kind of blocks the enemy players, but I didn't realize at the time of recording. We're playing versus PvE round right here, so we're gonna skip that, or at least fast forward it. We don't need to see too much here. And yeah, I'm still trying to find that Lynx, which is a Bulwark Lynx, which is still very good in the early game. We couldn't find him yet. We're still playing the same, so that's why we're fast forwarding right here. I'm fishing for an Arcos, but at this point I'm trying to make the old school build happen. A little bit different though. It's not going to be around Verdant anymore, but we get to that in a second. So here, Light Chosen, I don't think it's as good as Saccharine Escape and Warp Wave Assault. I had a tough choice between those two, but I went for the Saccharine Escape, which just gives me more survivability, more attack speed once the threshold is met. Then we find the stage 2 Monkey. I'm going to put Saccharine Escape on him. So once he falls below 60%, I think it is, he gets 75% attack speed and is untargetable for a while, which can be really, really good because it's all about that survivability with fighters because they have the constant damage. They just need to deliver it. They need some uptime. So here we decide to sell the Scarabrock, bring in the Cling instead to get up to 21 gold because for every 10 gold we get 1 gold income. So we want to make sure that our economy catches up a little bit because I've been over-investing a little bit. I went for level 5 in the first round trying to go onto a win streak. Didn't really happen, so my economy is kind of screwed up and we need to get back to it. Right here again, we took down the rogues in the back with our fighters. That made it pretty easy to then clean up the whole fight in the end. I think now we're gonna find that Lynx exactly. So the Lynx is gonna move in instead of the Doker, our stage 1 fighter. Don't really need that. And we're gonna go for 3 bulwarks, 3 fighters. We have itemized our foe with penetration right here, plus, yeah, double penetration, basically. And it's looking pretty good so far, but definitely what we have seen so far, basically every round that I lost to an Empath Scion corner positioning. Right here we have something else. We have a bunch of big fighters with the Ray Lu and the Doka with really good augment right here, extra health and extra true damage. So this is gonna be a tough fight. He's a little bit all over the place. He has he has 2 rogues, 2 fighters, 1 bulwark and 2 scions. It's not that bad. But yeah, just this legendary augment here is gonna give us a hard time. We are again in the backline taking down his rogues, which is pretty good. And now we are onto his fighters. But yeah, just this Ray Lu, since we're also not focusing him, he's gonna give us a hard time. But what I wanted to show you right here is, look at the damage of the Rampy. This is a tier 5 stage 1 unit, same like the foe, but even without augments and even without rogue activated or anything like that, it's just a Rampy. There is no double rogues, nothing. It does by far the most damage, no augments, no synergies activated, and that's why we brought it in right here instead of the 3 bulwarks. Now we are in another augment selection phase. We went for the extra attack damage, stacking attack damage and Omega power, which will be very good on a Scoriox. So now let's talk a little bit more how our final composition will look like. But first we're gonna augmentize our Rampy. We just saw it is the top performer, so we're gonna put those best augments on it to do the most damage. Now we're against the corner positioning again, so 1 tank here, 1 tank here, so hopefully one of them takes the lasers and one of them takes all the heat. And then hopefully my Lura that I brought right in with the Rampy is gonna take down a lot of units here, and then my fighters are gonna come in to clear it up. My Ranger stays close here to the Scions, so they're not gonna focus the Ranger, and they hopefully gonna focus the Twine, who runs right up here. And it's looking pretty good. Again, let's look at the damage. My Rampy here got really lucky. It barely wasn't able to cast, but in the end it gets the cast out, and it does 4,000 damage after the cast, taking down like 3 units, and that basically seals the deal. Otherwise we couldn't have gone through them, because it takes us such a long time to get through that stage 3 links. Without that 4,000 Rampy damage, taking down 3 key units of the enemy, it wouldn't have been possible. So talking about the final build, if I have a moment here, we want to go for Furiox, which is an Arcanite, plus our Slayer, our Arcanite weapon right here. The Boomerang now gives on stage 2, gives Arcanite, and a Furiox with Arcanite is very strong. And in general, composite affinities, so not the basic one, but the composites are very strong. So, for example, that's why Kara Blue or Kara Dulu right here is a very strong unit again, because it's very easy to find Toxic in him and in the Riptor by finding a Riptorus. And with 2 Toxic, Kara Dulu feels like one of the main tanks at the moment. I'm rolling a little bit more here. I should have stopped at 50 gold. Here we find the Twine. I wanted to swap it out. I'm just running out of time. And yeah, definitely the Twine is going to be better than the Links, but we're not going to play Verdant. I bought the weapon right here just in case we find, you know, more copies when rolling, because a stage 2 of this would still be very good for now for the mid game. But our late game weapon is going to be the stage 2 Boomerang, giving us Arcanite, which is just so strong, with the Scoriox just being one of the main carries. And then we also have this stacking Omega power and attack damage, which is going to be very good if the fights last long. As you can already see, they very much do, especially with those defensive augments, those sustain augments that we have. Right, this round looked a little bit tough. Basically, look at that. The health of the app has been reduced, but it was able to take 4,000 damage. So the empaths right now, they only give a shield to themselves. But the shield is very big. So if you have like 5 empaths, they're even more tanky than they used to be. And again, empaths feels kind of like the better alternative over bulwarks. So I think this has to be addressed a little bit. Bulwarks should be the tankiest unit and not those empaths with the huge shields. Also, Mystic is one of, if not the best composite synergy right now. It gives all your units better stats. And it is just very easy to get because you only need a stage 2 monkey plus a stage 2 mystic staff. I think there's one right here, yeah. Both of them 1 cost, so very early you can get double mystic with the weapon and the monkey. So this is, by the way, one of the best composite synergies right there. So here we play against a lot of rogues, and my plan was that my tanks will actually tank them. But most of them are actually going onto my fighters, and it was not a very good idea, for example, putting my monkey here, the main carry with the big augments, into the ramp fire, into the ramp fight, because it most likely will cast and take down a lot of units. So since my monkey here is dying super close, and it's the same guy again with this super strong augment, he's gonna take us down. What I should have done versus the ramp fight, put my tanks here and here, put all my fighters in the front line, and then my fighters are gonna take everything down here, and the ramp fight will just cast into the bulwarks in the backline. That would have been way better instead of also having my fighters down here. So now we found the Riptorus, and this will be a huge damage boost. We are also selling the links to bring in the Twine to get also to 30 gold by selling the links. Keep our economy strong. We're now gonna make a frontline positioning with all our fighters right here, because they have a lot of sustain, right? We have this one, you drop aggro. We have the Riptorus, which now heals a lot if it takes down units, because Toxic self-heals you when you take down units. We still have our 2 rogues, but we should get rid of them very soon and double down on our fighter composition. I mean, rogues used to very much support your fighters by giving them crit chance, but now basic affinities and classes only buff themselves. So bulwarks only gonna give resistance to themselves to bulwarks, fighters only gonna give attack speed to the fighters. So we're not have this cross-pollination of basic synergies buffing itself anymore. And yeah, we have an easy fight right here. Super easy. We have a really strong board here, and you can see the white bar here is the true damage that Toxic does. So that was like at least 1,000, around 1,000 damage right here, just from the Toxic, plus a lot of self-heal. And we can see our rogues are kind of underperforming by now. So that's why we're selling them. I kept the Lura in still because I wanted him to be a low Lura and give bloom to my forest that we were lucky to find right now. Here we have the legendary augment phase. We're gonna go for a vampiric price. It is one of the strongest legendary augments you can find for your fighters, because again, if you can sustain through the burst, for example from Scion units, you have that constant damage to back it up. You want long fights, you want those sustaining lifesteal augments like right here. So I make a little mistake with my augments. I have 1 legendary here, 1 legendary here, and those 2 legendaries would actually really be good together. They're gonna buff each other up, because yeah, it's just gonna make, with those 2 legendaries, our Forus, or later on our Riptorus, will be just this unkillable Demon King. But we split them up between the Riptorus and the Forus. We don't put them on the monkey anymore, because those 2 are our carries now. And we should have put both legendary augments onto one unit. We also brought the Fernite in. We still need the Raylu for Templar. And we have our Twine in the back to catch those rogues. Let's see how it goes. It's definitely a strong team that we're facing right here with the Ram fight with 2 legendary augments. You can see the damage that it does, I think. And it's just taking down everything. Our Riptor is almost able to heal against the damage it did with its Toxic. But it was just a little bit too little, too late. And we should have not clumped up so much versus this Ram fight. Gave him a huge opportunity to just one-shot my whole team in one Omega cast right there. And Ram fight and all those tier 5 units have been buffed. So a Ram fight really feels like the best rogue in the game. So does the Alfie, for example, with Scions. Like Alfie never used to be that good of a Scion, but now it's really strong. And Adorius and all those tier 5, tier 4s should be feeling better than those tier 3, 2, and 1s. And that wasn't always the case so far. Now I've been rolling a little bit and I already found a second Fur Knight. So at this point I'm pretty confident that we're gonna get a Blaze Knight because we still have a lot of gold left. We also found already 2 copies of the Riptor, so we're on a good way to stage 3ing our core units. We also found the Lolura giving us Bloom, so basically I'm always testing, I'm always trying out, and that's why it's really important to have these combat stats open and see how units perform. Because right now we have a stacking damage augment on the Forest plus the best lifesteal augment. So if he is not the top performer right here, we're gonna remove those legendary augments, we're gonna find somebody else to hold them. Because oftentimes, right now, our biggest damage deal is the Caradulo with just toxic damage. But oftentimes the Riptorus can outperform the damage of the Forest, as we can see right here. And Riptorus also got 2 augments, but I would say Forest got the better 2 augments. And yeah, as soon as we find a Riplands, it's definitely time to put both legendary augments onto our Riplands and make it our main carry. And then our Forest right here is gonna be our secondary carry. We can see the damage of the Lolura, it's just not really there. And I don't think, even with the Bloom and the good augments, Forest was underperforming half the damage of the Riptorus. So I think it's gonna be time to remove the Bloom very soon. It's just not doing what it used to do many patches ago. And we bring in the Miol right here, but we're gonna remove it in a second. Actually gonna bring in the Hedy. And now we found the Riptorus copy. We have those 2 Bulwarks. We have those 3 Fighters. Finally, we found our Raylu. And now we have Templar. Hedy has to go again. We rather get Templar over the 2 Bulwark stacks. And yeah, now we have actually 5 Fighters right here with our Ranger. We have the Fur Knight giving us Templar. We have the Lolura giving us Bloom. And then we have Caradulo for our Toxic. So we have a very strong team, especially also with those augments that are very good for fighters. So very early in the game I decided I wanted to go for fighters, and that's why I was able. Here we also get the Boomerang. I'm a little bit hesitant to picking it because there was a bug when you would complete a weapon during fight, it wouldn't work and it would get stuck. But I ended up clicking it just to try out if the bug still is there, but it has been fixed. So that's very nice to see. Overall, the stability is way better, less crashes, really good reconnects. Like, it's not as bad, the reconnects, than they used to be. I think I had it 2 times and because of internet issues, and was able to reconnect right away. We see the self-healing right here from the Forest. It's pretty huge. And now we're gonna have one more augment phase right here. We're gonna go for True Strike, giving you True Strike, True Sight, and also stacking attack speed, which is gonna be really good. I'm still thinking about the Furiox that comes in later. So this stacking Omega Power plus attack damage plus the stacking attack speed is gonna be the perfect 2 augments for our Furiox. So now we're gonna sell the Lolura, bring in the Fury already. We only miss 1 more Scorpion to get the Riptorus. We need just 2 more Ferns, 1 more Fern to get the Blaze Knight, and 1 more Fury. Here is the Riptorus, very nice. We have 10 seconds left. Do I dare to redo the augments? I don't think yet. We just rolled 1 more time, found the Furiox, put the last augments on him, put him in the corner, and put the Grunk right here behind them just to protect our backline for the rogues coming in. We have a ram fight coming in, which can be quite scary, but the ram fight is here over on this side, which kind of saved us. If the ram fight was here, it could have looked very much differently. But now we can really see the strength of still the Toxic right here, but also of the Furiox doing a lot of damage already, going first in damage. And also my Ripens is just this unkillable Demon King that it's supposed to be, and it doesn't even have the perfect augments yet. So we definitely see who are our two main carries. It's a little bit sad that our tier 5 Boros is not that anymore. But yeah, we had a little time jump here. Now we're gonna redo all the augments. Stacking attack speed plus damage on the Furiox. Best lifesteal augment plus dropping aggro. So 2 perfect legendary augments on the right plans. Just the energy or the resistance piercing on the Forest. And then on the Monkey, we're gonna put the other piercing augment. So if one of those dies, we still have the other augment. Usually you would always wanna double up augments, put 2 on the same one instead of 1 on 2 different ones, because they're gonna enhance each other, right? A basic example is if you have an augment that gives you health and an augment that gives you armor, let's call it, physical resistance. The more health you have, the more the physical resistance will have health to reduce the damage, and the more resistance you have, the more you will get out of health pool. You get what I'm saying? So oftentimes, like if you put 2 defensive or 2 offensive augments on the same unit, those augments are gonna buff each other, basically. And yeah, we just need 1 more Fern for the Blaze Knight. We already have the Krunkin, so that's gonna give us Wildfire. Our Furiox right here, a little bit in a bad position. It's getting hit by the Goliath stun, so it was getting pretty low, but now we can see the damage is just insane. It was able to have enough uptime to ditch out all that damage. Very easy rounds here, taking down another player. I think that's Rich right here. Well played. You can definitely see his improvements over the month. And yeah, the other day I saw a lobby that he won, so big shout out to him. That's cool to see. Not the best augments here. More Omega cast can be good on a right lens. If you have another augment on him, like those 2 for example on a right lens, they're gonna buff each other again. Like if you have similar augments, they're gonna enhance each other, and sometimes you can get a very cheesy composition. But we went for the 15% attack speed, so buffing our surrounding units even more. We're rolling down here, trying to find that Blaze Knight. We found it, and at this point we just have a very strong composition. The only thing we're really looking for is the Scoriox, and also the Flare could become a Singed and be, or is it Seer? Always mistake those 2 names, but basically we could get in Magma if we get the Scoriox, which is also a very strong trait now. I've seen somebody play 4 Magma, it was insane, and it gives, like, I think 4 times the damage that it used to do. The Magma field does 4 times the damage, and the Grid and Resolve has been reduced a little bit. So it got more offensive, the whole Magma trait. Wildfire does a lot more damage, and basically all the composite synergies have been buffed a lot. Same for the classes. So it's all about picking one of those composite synergies and making it your win condition. One big win condition that we see very, very soon is also Phantom. Phantom is finally there where it should be, because you need a tier 5 and a tier 3 stage 3 unit to activate Phantom and Inferno. And one of our opponents here was able to get it. You can see it right here. We got the Rampfire, we got the Monarch, and at this point I'm happy, because either I'm winning or Phantom is winning. So either way, Phantom is winning. I'm happy about that. And we're gonna see what Rampfire does. Please take a close look what Rampfire does. It's a rogue, so it's obviously gonna arrive in the back line, where it's gonna be met by one of our tanks, which should usually hold it for a few seconds, right? And what we could do here is try to swap positioning and really try to get that Rampfire, for example, put the tank here, put all our units here, play a 50-50, Rampfire lands here, goes here, casts here, doesn't hit our units over here. But yeah, we have a pretty decent positioning. It's very hard to position against the Rampfire. It's gonna come in the middle and it's gonna hit a lot of units, but yeah, you wanna spread out as much as possible. Last minute reposition here was kind of dumb, but I don't think it would have made a difference. And you will see why in just a second. Definitely should have spread out more in general, but 2 auto hits down. 1, 2, down. Just the auto hit damage with those 2 legendary augments on the Ramfire is insane. And here comes the one shot to my whole team. 34,000 damage done in just under, I would say, like, was done. I like to see it. It's maybe a bit overtuned, but it has the perfect 2 augments. It has Phantom activated. It has Inferno activated, so fair enough. Really 2 auto hits per target. And there we go. Big cast, taking down absolutely everybody. And again, my positioning not ideal, but I don't think it would have made a difference. We managed to get second place, just -1 right here. And let's have a little quick look at what everybody was playing. So we have the rogues, which actually... Wait, let me pause real. Okay, so we have 2 predators right here. Then we have 2 mud right here. We have Phantom and Inferno activated with those 2. We have a nice little healer, 2 other healers, and our range is also Mystic. So we have Mystic as well, plus like 4 Empaths activated. Actually, 5 Empaths activated. 5 Empaths, 3 Rogues, 1 Scion, Phantom, Inferno, Predator, Mud, Mystic. Like really, really good composition. Then we have myself right here with Berserkers activated. We got Toxic. We got Arcanite. We got Templar. We got Wildfire. Horus actually should be a little bit stronger. I think it's not... Well, I guess if we get into Phosphorus, it could be our big main carry. Then we have Arcanite again, and with the Blaze Knight, Templar, and Wildfire. So really good composition as well. I'm lucky we got there. And then we have something in the middle, I guess, here with some fighters, with some ramp fight. Definitely such a strong unit now. And yeah, kind of in the middle of us two is Kibu right here with a similar build. Then we have a pretty good build right here with the Axodon, which is one of the strongest units now if you can get Tsunami online. So I would recommend to you always contest those Atlas, because you don't want to give Tsunami to your opponent. But a little bit all over the place. Couldn't activate Harbinger, couldn't activate Tsunami. Has a bunch of Scions here, but not really a solid frontline. Has a random Ray Lee in there, which gives you shock, but it's not gonna really make the difference, because you already have damage with Octius and hopefully Sinarv soon and all those Scions, so you want more tankiness, more sustain, like what you get with the Lynx right here. And yeah, down here we have, yeah, let's just go over the top 4. And that is it. All right, that was the rundown. I know there was a lot of information right there, but I hope you could take a lot away from it. If you want to support my channel, please use the referral code PASS in your Illuvium profile settings. Thank you very much. I'm going to see you tomorrow on another stream. We're going to open 50 G-Shock promo discs, and we're going to give a lot of stuff away. Then on Saturday, we have probably another tournament coming up. So stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter with Phantom, with myself. And I'll see you soon, guys. Thank you very much. Peace out. Adios. Have a good one. Bye-bye.